This is Da Nang in 2025. I first came here in 2018 and since then a lot has changed. In this video I'll share with you my first impressions in 2025 and talk about things like cost, safety, traffic, getting around, things to do. Is it good for digital nomads? Is it good for a holiday? And much more. Having been here for 3 weeks now, I'll share with you the good things so far, some of the great things about the city, and at the end of this video I'll share with you some of the not so good things about the city. So hang around for that. With a population of just over 1.2 million, Da Nang is a medium-sized city. And even from 2018, I can see now how much more popular it is with digital nomads, expats, holiday makers. But the good thing is, it still retains and feels like that kind of medium, small city feel. It doesn't feel too overpopulated. It doesn't feel too taken over by tourists. And it still feels like a normal Vietnamese working city with a touch of tourism influence, if you like. Which brings me on to the first major point and thing I've been really impressed with and liked a lot about Da Nang so far is the community aspect. There's a lot of digital nomads here. There's a lot of people staying here longer term. There's a lot of people traveling through. There's a huge community of people playing pickleball and running down by the beach and exercising. There's a big fitness and health community here, but you also have the drinking aspect and going out and socializing in that respect. So I think it's got the best of both worlds like that. There's a lot of bars, and if you've ever been to Vietnam, pretty much any day of the week past midday you can see people just sat down socializing, whether it be having a few beers or playing a board game, whatever it is. There's a lot of that going on. I've been playing pickleball since I've been here and I haven't played that previously, and even doing that you meet people playing pickleball, and there's a huge community of that here, and it's a very accessible sport. So if you're into sports, into fitness, there's that, and it makes it easy to meet people, especially if you are a solo traveler. So the community aspect I think is a huge plus here in Da Nang. It does have plenty of Westerners or expats or digital nomads here, but it hasn't lost that Vietnamese feel. It doesn't feel at all like it's lost to tourism or lost to foreigners, which I think is a huge appeal of any country. You want it to still have that identity with some people that you can connect with that are maybe on a similar page or similar path in life with you. The next huge plus point to Vietnam and especially Da Nang is the cost. I wasn't sure what to expect, and of course the price has increased from what it was 7 years ago, but it's still very affordable here. I'm not going to go into the details of everything in this video because I plan to do a cost of living video in the future once I've been here for a full month and break down all of my costs. But food is super reasonable. Accommodation, you can expect to pay somewhere in the region of like £250 to about £500, or about $300 US to $600 or $700 US. And in terms of accommodation, there's loads of options of hotels and apartments. And if you want somewhere relatively nice, probably $400 to $600 US for the month for a nice spacious double room. Now the beach is actually nicer than what I remember, and the water is nicer than what I remember last time, and I came at a similar time of year. Depending on the day, the water clarity will be a little bit different, but let me just walk you down the beach and show you this stretch, and I'll also show you a few clips of the more popular stretch, My Cay Beach, down in the center of the tourism or more busy area of Da Nang. So this stretch of the beach here is slightly north of the main part of the beach, My Cay Beach. And it's a little bit quieter, you can see. It's quite a bit quieter here. The sea's quite calm today by Da Nang standards. There's always a little bit of chop and a little bit of wave, but it's quite calm here today. But there is also quite a bit of this everywhere. Up in the My Cay Beach area and in that main part where most people go, they must do a good job of cleaning it because there tends to be no rubbish up there, but up this side of the beach you can see there's a little bit more rubbish. It genuinely is a nice stretch of sand. The whole way along Da Nang Beach is nice in my opinion. The waves can be a little bit choppy, the water can be a little bit mucky and dirty, but it is overall nice, and if you get it on a good day, the water can be very clear. Overall, the water doesn't seem too dirty compared to other cities I've been to, but on the other hand, it still is quite a stretch away from a Phuket beach or Koh Samui where you're gonna get some clear water. Now the weather at this time of year is perfect. It's cool in the morning and it's cool in the evening, and then in the day, if you get sunshine, it will be 25 to 30 degrees, which I think is the perfect climate. Cool in the evening, cool in the morning, hot in the day, you've got sunshine, the humidity isn't too hot. That can vary. Some days feel a little bit more humid, some days haven't been too sunny and it's been a bit cloudy and muggy, but overall the weather has been really good. It is worth noting that it does have a wet season here and a dry season here, but right now this is the dry season and it genuinely is beautiful. Now, something Da Nang has leveled up since I was last here, and it's worth noting I was actually here 2 years ago, but it was on a shorter trip. But when I was here for a couple of weeks 7 years ago, the restaurant game in Da Nang has leveled up. Loads of choices, Western food, Vietnamese food, Asian food, lots of choices and lots of good food. We've had pizza a couple of times, we've had some Japanese food, we have had plenty of Vietnamese food. Same with everywhere you go. If you are buying local food, you're going to save yourself some money, but if you're buying Western food, the price really isn't that bad either. We've been out, had a 3-course meal and drinks, and it came to about £20, I believe, about 25 US dollars or maybe 30 US dollars. I will find the price and put it up here. But we couldn't believe that. I think that value is unbelievable. On that note too, loads of working cafes. The coffee here is world famous. It's very nice in Vietnam. I don't personally drink it, but it is really good. I have tried it. It's really good. But there's loads of cafes and coffee shops around. The working spaces are good with super fast Wi-Fi, which is another massive plus, especially if you're working here. And they're a good place to meet people if you're solo traveling or if you're looking to network with anyone. The more this video has gone on, the more I've realized how much good there is about this city. I really like it. It's very well rounded, and I've got a few more good points before I get on to the things that I don't like too much about Da Nang. Now, there are plenty of gyms here, and big plus about it, the gyms are super affordable. You can get a day pass at a gym for around 30,000, which is just under £1 or about $1.20, which I think is super good value. And if you want to buy a month, the gym that I'm at is super simple, but it costs me about 12 or 13 pounds for the month. So you're looking at about 16 US dollars. So I do think from a holiday standpoint, there might not be the most to do in Da Nang, but it is very well located. You've got the international airport around 20-minute drive from the center of the city, and then you've also got Hoi An about a 40-minute drive away from Da Nang, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a beautiful day out, or you could just go there for a couple of nights. We've recently spent 1 night there in 2 days. I've been there about 3 or 4 times now, and each time I go, I'm still impressed with it. It's a good day out. It's a beautiful little place. It's very unique. It's got a lot going on. There's plenty to do there. So if you got bored of Da Nang, you could shoot down there. In the city, if you were on holiday, maybe you would find there's not as much to do, but I do think it's a much more livable city rather than a holiday city, in my opinion. You do have the beach, you do have the drinking scene, the restaurants and everything. So if that's all you want, and you want some nice hotels, there's plenty of them around. But for me, if I was coming on holiday, I would go elsewhere. But from a livable standpoint, I think it's a very good city. Now, the final 2 points, I'm just gonna breeze through this first one. It is super flat. Everywhere is super flat. So if you like walking, if you like cycling, it's easy to get around on that front. Really easy and really flat. Now, the next factor is a huge draw for me, and that is the safety of this city. If you're coming here and you are a solo traveler, it's your first time going away, or it's your first time in a big Asian city on your own, you're a female traveling and feel a little bit worried, Da Nang feels extremely safe. If you're coming as a couple and you want to know that your missus walking around at night is just going to be safe and you don't have to feel stressed, I think Da Nang is a really good place and a really safe city. The crime rate is low when you look online, but it's the feel of the place. You just get the feeling of security and feeling safe, which for me is a huge draw. To be honest, it's the exact same feeling I had when I was first here 7 years ago. I was a different person back then. I was partying all the time. I was going out and I was getting lifts from locals on motorbikes and trying to give them money, and they were insistent, saying no, like, we don't want no money, we were just giving you a lift. We'd sit there all night and have beers with the locals and they'd be providing them. We did end up buying them a crate of beer at the end of the night and making sure that we looked after them, but they did not want it. They would not accept it. We had to go to a shop and buy it. The feeling here is very friendly, and that is most of Vietnam, to be honest. But in Da Nang, it's a very welcoming feeling. It doesn't feel like everyone's just out for your money or out wanting something from you. In my opinion, it's a great, safe city with welcoming people. Now let's get on to the few downsides or negatives that I think Da Nang might have, in my opinion. They're not terrible, but they are worth noting. The first one is it can be a bit noisy. Most of Vietnam can be a bit noisy, especially in the cities. There's a lot of construction going on in Da Nang right now. Like even out here you can see, just here you can see, there's a lot of construction. So if you are booking accommodation for a month, 2 months, 6 months, it might be worth getting here first or looking at a lot of reviews and making sure you're confident on the place first. If you can, get in here and actually going in and seeing which position the room or apartment is situated in, I think is a good idea. I know it's not always possible, but that would probably be the only way to guarantee you're not going to get disturbed by noise. And we all know there's no worse feeling, and I have had this feeling, I've had it a couple of times, feeling like, yeah, I've booked a great place, and on night one you get into bed and it sounds like a rock concert is going on outside your window. It's the worst feeling when you know you've got 30 nights at least to endure of that noise. So that's why I bring it up, because ideally all of us can get a nice, sound, quiet place to sleep. Now the next thing is air quality. If you look on the air quality index of Da Nang, it's actually better than a lot of Vietnam. It's much better than Ho Chi Minh, which is what you'd expect. It's much better than Hanoi, and it's better than most cities in Vietnam. But it still doesn't feel the best. You're gonna get that with a city, but here with a lot of traffic, a lot of bikes going around, the air quality isn't the best, but it's not the worst either. So pros and cons. In Da Nang, it's better than most places I've been in Southeast Asia, but it's still not a 10 out of 10. I do want to stress it doesn't bother me. It's not nearly as bad as some places. It's just a small minor thing I thought I'd mention. And finally, on the bad things, this is probably the worst and the biggest downside to Vietnam as a whole for me, and that is the traffic and the driving style. It's not necessarily the traffic. In Da Nang, the traffic isn't too bad. You can get around the city, and even if there's congestion, you're always moving. The traffic isn't too bad. What is an issue is the driving style here. Even just driving this morning on the way to make this video on the way to the beach, I thought I would stick my GoPro on and record just to see if any incidents happen. And this isn't just a coincidence, this happens all the time. A car just pulled out on a crossroads and just came straight across when it should have been going slow. Luckily I'd seen it and I'd slowed in approach. Otherwise it might have hit me in the side, or I might have hit it. Just like that. I saw him coming from the right. He obviously didn't see me. You should give way to everyone there, but he decided to keep coming. If I would have just been going normal speed, I would have gone into the side of him, or he would have gone into the side of me. So you need eyes in the back of your head. You need eyes everywhere in Vietnam when driving, especially in the big cities. There's plenty of ways to get around. You can get around on a grab motorbike, or if you don't feel safe on that, you can walk, or you can get a push bike, or you can order a taxi, and they're all relatively cheap. For me, I like the autonomy of having my own transport, and I like riding a bike. I enjoy it, but I am aware there are risks. Even last night we saw an accident. It's just the style here. The system in Vietnam of driving is there is no system. People come at you left, right, forward, back. They're going up the opposite ways. It is a bit of an issue here, and I do wish something would be done about it, because it is just a slight letdown, and it seems like it would just be so easily fixed. And it just is by far the strangest driving approach I've ever seen anywhere. But aside from them few small points of Da Nang that I've mentioned, overall I am very impressed by this city. In 7 years things have only got better, not worse. The balance of tourism and a local feel and a foreign influence is all a very nice balance right now. The food's great. The fact that you've got the beach right on the city front is really good too. I genuinely think the city is one of the most livable places I've been in Southeast Asia. The community's good, the sporting aspect, the fitness, the health vibe here, the nightlife if you want it, the friendly locals, the international airport. There is so much going for Da Nang. I think the place is brilliant, and I think it's only probably going to get more popular. Now, if you've got anything to add or anything you disagree or agree with me on, please let me know in the comments. If you feel like I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments also. And if you'd like me to do a full cost of living video on Da Nang and exactly how much I've spent over a month period here in the city, then please let me know in the comments. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.